to save people from the dangers of the growing Nazi regime. They were Reverend Waitstill Sharp and his wife, Martha Sharp, from Wellesley, Massachusetts, and they saved more than 2,000 people from Nazi death camps. And they went to do that representing their Unitarian congregation. Ken Burns produced a documentary of their story called Defying the Nazis, which I really recommend that you watch. They put their lives in great peril, and their goal for what was to become the UUSC of today was to coordinate the social action and social justice work of the American Unitarian Association and provide opportunities for Unitarians and congregations to expand on those social justice efforts. Of course, the name changed with the 1961 merger of the Unitarian and the Universalist denominations, but the commitment to justice around the world stayed constant. And today, as the world faces new pandemic challenges, the UUSC continues to adjust to the most current social justice needs and continues to need our support. And that's why we're invited to participate in the program called Guest at Your Table. So during the months of November and December, we're invited to and encouraged to invite 4 of UUSC's guests to our tables to learn along with them in the ways that we can be involved in the global social justice efforts. And we'll have more on that a bit later. UUSC's mission is this: to advance human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. Our work is grounded in the belief that all people have inherent power and dignity. And just as we know from our justice work here that it's important both to help those in need and also critically important to work toward dismantling the structures and systems that are designed to keep people in poverty and keep people oppressed. So the UUSC works with partners on the ground and communities around the world on both sides of that effort. Here is Mary Catherine Mourn, the CEO of UUSC, to lead us in our chalice lighting this morning.
Welcome all to this service sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. We are grateful to be invited into your worshiping community in this way. I'm Reverend Mary Catherine Mourn, President and CEO of UUSC. In uncertain times, it helps to look to times past when we have risen to challenges and tested the strength of our Unitarian Universalist values. We hope the UUSC Sunday service we are offering will provide both consolation and inspiration to your community as we honor 80 years of our UUSC history and look toward a future shaped by hope and justice. I invite you to join me in lighting a chalice. This is the flame of our faith, the light of hope, the cup of community, and the fire of commitment. May we be bearers of the light and the cup and the fire, as together we create a world of justice and joy.
You ever wondered what actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie? Because I can promise you, it's not.
I always wonder that. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We join together our minds and our hearts, our spirits, for a time of community prayer and meditation. I'm ever so grateful for our community today in particular, so that we have a place to bring our outrage and our bitter disappointment over the verdict in Kenosha, Wisconsin this last week. We know what we know in this place, and that is that our criminal justice system is stacked in favor of white folk and against folks of color. And so we experience our feelings, our multitude of emotions, and we bring them to this safe place where once again we galvanize ourselves and we recommit to being the hands and the feet and the hearts and the voices of love and justice in our world. And we're ever so aware of how much our work is needed in these days. And so in that same vein, in whatever way that we pray, that we meditate, that we send out our energy, may we do that for justice for Ahmaud Arbery, who was murdered in his neighborhood while jogging this last February. And closing arguments in that trial are coming this week. We gather together today those who are grieving, those who are lonely, those who are ill, those who are struggling with recovery, those who are recovering from illness, surgeries. We send out our love to them. May we be reminded that sometimes a hand to hold is all we need. May we be directed to be that hand where it is needed. We'll take a few moments of silent prayer and meditation. And those who are on Zoom are welcome to take a few moments to record your hopes, your fears, your joys, your concerns in the chat. We are reminded today and always that we can do together what we could never do alone. And so we gather all of our joys, our concerns, our celebrations, our worries, and our fears. And we gather them together, and we know that they are held together in the heart of love. And we offer a gesture one to another that has become a symbol of the reminder of the mystery of our connections one to another. One hand on the heart with our palm extending outward. It is our way of saying we are all connected. We see each other, we hear each other. We look into one another's eyes and know love there. And in this way, we are all connected through the mystery of love. Amen.
As long as I remember being a Unitarian Universalist, I remember the Guest at Your Table program. Every year around this time, we would go to church and get our Guest at Your Table boxes. They were pre-made boxes at that time, not one that I made. The idea with this annual fundraising program is that every person or family in the congregation brings home a special box decorated with images of Unitarian Universalist Service Committee partners. And UUs around the country are invited to place that box at the table where we eat or some other commonplace location where it will be seen regularly. And then over a period of several weeks, as we see our guests, we place coins or other donations into the box, regularly connecting with these folks who have been invited into our homes. As a child, I would bring my box home and I would dutifully put it at our kitchen table. I didn't really have a way of earning my own money at that point, but I remember that if I found a coin on the ground, which seems like it was easier back then, I would excitedly add it to the box. And everyone in the family would contribute in the ways that they were able to. And usually we'd have several weeks with the box in our home before we brought it back to our congregation. And so I spent a lot of time looking at that box. I remember each time I walked by the table, I would shake the box to hear the coins jingle. And I would get excited as the weeks went on and the box got heavier. I would look at the pictures on the outside of the box and I would wonder about the people. I would wonder about who they are and what they do. I'd read the descriptions that the UU Service Committee had provided, and I'd spend time thinking about their lives and how we might be supporting them. I got to know our guests by wondering about them. And so today we will invite all of you into this annual practice of inviting guests into your lives and wondering about who they are and what they do. In this time of polarization and deep divides in our country and around the world, it seems that this particular invitation to bring a guest into our intimate spaces is a necessary act of courage. Author and activist Valerie Kaur tells us that we're in a time that needs revolutionary love. And she tells us that the work of revolutionary love begins with the premise that every person we meet is not a stranger, but a part of ourselves that we do not yet know. She suggests that the first step towards seeing no stranger is simply to wonder about them without any preconceptions about who you might imagine them to be. And I imagine this to be the real work of this Guest at Your Table month. Sure, it's a fundraiser, but it's also an invitation to see no stranger, to practice wondering about other people, and to join with them in solidarity. And ironically, Valerie Kaur says that one of the best practices for seeing someone as a part of you that you do not yet know is to wonder about what they like to eat for dinner. And so I encourage you to try this. When you see some random person while you're out and about in your daily life, take just a moment to wonder what they like to eat for dinner. Such a small practice of curiosity that opens us up for future connection. Valerie says that wonder leads to compassion and empathy and solidarity. This is part of our practice when we invite these guests into our intimate spaces. The invitation is to get to know them, to wonder about their lives, to ask what got them started with the amazing community building and activism that they do, to wonder about what keeps them going when they feel burned out or dejected about the slow pace of change, and to wonder about what supports them and sustains them. And yes, even to wonder what they like to eat for dinner. And so with that, let's meet our guests.
In today's story, I want to introduce you to 4 people who are in very different parts of the world, who are all working for fairness, justice. Even though we don't have a chance to get out of her side, I want to Cherelle. Who lives in Guatemala. Over the past several years, the area has had a lot of people migrate or jobs, find no food. Unfortunately, not having enough food to survive is not considered a good enough reason for someone to be welcomed into the United States, and many people are turned away and forced to return to Guatemala. Adela works to support people in the country so that the conditions are better and more fair. She also supports people who've been forced to return after migrating, who face the difficulty of returning to their homes after being away for many months or even years. Adela especially helps kids and teenagers who are returning to Guatemala. Next, I want to tell you about Mark, a scientist in the Marshall Islands. The Marshall Islands are a small chain of islands in the Pacific Ocean that are experiencing environmental damages, making it more and more difficult to live there. Because of climate change or human-made damages to the environment, the sea is at a higher level than it used to be, and flooding is becoming worse and worse. In his work, Mark teams up with members of his community in the Marshall Islands to collect information about the flooding and safe drinking water. This information is used to help build protections so that people do not have to leave their homes, and also help community members determine when flooding might become bad enough that they do have to move to a higher location or to a different country entirely. Some of these choices are hard to make, but it helps when people have all the information they need to be able to make the best decision they can for themselves. The third person I want to share with you about is Chief Cherelle, the leader of an Indian tribe in southern Louisiana, which can trace its ancestors back to the very first people we know of that lived in the area. Like Mark, Chief Cherelle is facing damages to her home from climate change and other human-caused activity. Being along the Louisiana coast, Chief Cherelle's community is losing land to the water, and the increase in salt water is also damaging trees and the land they use for hunting and farming. In the face of these challenges, Chief Cherelle is fighting for her people and lands. She works together with others to tell people what is happening to her community and advocate for support so they can build the protections they need to protect the land. Lastly, I want to introduce you to Suja, who's from Burma, which is also known as Myanmar. This is a country in Southeast Asia that borders China, Thailand, and India. Burma has a huge diversity of ethnic groups, people who practice similar traditions to each other. But the groups that have smaller populations face a lot of discrimination, which is limitations on their freedom and even danger. For example, Suja practices a different religion than the majority of people in the country, and because of this, he was prevented from completing school in Burma. When he protested and asked for a chance to continue with school, he was arrested and held in jail for more than a week. He was only a teenager when this happened. After he was let out of jail, he was afraid for his life and left the country. It was difficult to find services and build a new life elsewhere. But when he eventually did, he worked with others to create an organization supporting other refugees going through similar struggles. Together, they're creating a community that helps each other, even though they're far away from home. I hope these stories were a chance to learn about the challenges this year's 4 guests are facing and how they're fighting back for what is fair and what is right. Through Guest at Your Table, your congregation and other congregations around the country are helping to provide these guests with the resources to do their work. Together, we can make a better and fairer world. Thank you.
We are excited to start our Guest at Your Table program today, honoring some of the many, many partners that the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee works with over their decades of work. So we're going to take some time now to find our vessel or special receptacle that we'll use to welcome our guests over the next few weeks. If you brought a box or a bag or a bowl to the service today, wonderful. During this time, you'll be invited to add pictures of the guests or to decorate your receptacle in some other way. If you have not brought a receptacle, during the next few minutes, we'll be inviting you to find a receptacle that you can dedicate to your guests for the next several weeks. Generally, each family will have just one box or bag or bowl that they add to collectively. So if you're here in person, we have several containers available in the back on the table. And they'll be available in the back of the sanctuary. And in just a moment, you can come and get a receptacle that you can use for the next few weeks. We want to invite you to remain connected to the guests that you'll be bringing home with you and to have a reminder of them every single day. So we've printed out a couple sheets of some additional guests that you'll be able to bring home with you. So please feel free to take one of those with you as well. And you can either put it near your receptacle at home, you can glue it on eventually. I taped my pictures to my box to remind myself of the guests that would be with me this month. So when you go in the back, I invite you to maintain safe distancing while you retrieve your box and your guests. If you're not here in person, we invite you to go find something wherever you are that can be used to collect coins and remind you of your guests over the next several weeks. And we are sharing a couple links with you in the chat that you can print or read online. And we'll share these in the e-announce over the next couple weeks as well. It gives you some information about your guests and also has some more pictures of the folks so that you can have them near you while you contribute over the next couple weeks. So let's take some time to find our receptacles and make them our Guest at Your Table boxes. You're invited to go into the back to collect boxes. I invite you to hold up, whether you're online or here in person, your box or bag or bowl or other creative vessel, as together we bless these receptacles for the next several weeks. Together, may we offer our gratitude to the work of our partners who work tirelessly to create positive changes in our world. We offer gratitude for the long-term partnerships that make it possible for us to do more than we would be able to do individually. We offer gratitude for the hard work of all people transforming our communities towards justice and equity. May these vessels remind us that we can choose to see no stranger. May these vessels remind us that we can choose to wonder about all we meet. May these vessels receive our blessings and generosity in the weeks to come. You are invited to place these vessels in a sacred space in your home or some other central location where you'll see them often and where it will feel like these folks are guests in your space. We will collect them around Christmas time in a variety of ways, and we'll let you know more about that as we get closer to the time. Thank you for inviting these guests into your home.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope will guide us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
We want to thank you so much for joining us for our service today, whether online or here in this room in person. And I want to remind you that our Reno posse continues every Wednesday to prepare meals for over 100 of folks that they go out and deliver. And you can help with that effort by providing juice pouches and single-serve snacks. And you can bring those to the bin between the buildings on Wednesdays before around lunchtime, and they will be delivered. And they're also collecting winter coats and hats and gloves and warm winter clothing to be handed out as well. So thank you for your participation in that effort as we try to care for those who continue on the streets as winter approaches. Also wanted to let you know that in this holiday season, the holidays are fast approaching, and around Christmas time, we will have our candlelight Taizé service. I'm excited to be back in person for that service this year. That will happen on Friday evening, December 17th, and then we will have our Christmas Eve service, of course, on Friday evening, December 24th. And both of those will be both in person and on Zoom. So we look forward to your attendance in either of those ways at those special holiday services. And Kristen has some announcements.
I wanted to invite you, if you're here with us in person, to join us immediately following the service for a brief time that we're calling building a gratitude altar. And it's really just meant to be a small moment in time before we enter into the winter season to express our gratitude. We'll gather together in the back here, and we'll use some objects from nature to express some of the gratitudes that we have in our life right now. So we'll gather right immediately following the service. Our ribbon of joy is up and online, available for all of you to participate. This is our annual way that we support our community in giving gifts to those who have a more challenging time purchasing gifts. And so you are able, the details are all in the e-announce, or you can talk to Sue after the service today, is helping organize our ribbon of joy this year. We have collected enough gifts for about 20% of the folks who are on our list this year. So we really hope that you can go to the e-announce and get the details for how to participate in the Ribbon of Joy. And we really appreciate your willingness and generosity to participate in this annual program. On December 12th, please save the date for our winter festival party. This will be in person and online, and it'll be an opportunity to come together in community in a variety of ways, including an opportunity for us to wrap all those presents that we're collecting for folks in our community through the Ribbon of Joy. So save the date immediately following the service, in person and online, on December 12th, winter festival party. On December 19th, the following week, we're going to do our annual Polar Express party. This will also be in person and online. You are invited to come to the service that day, anywhere you attend, in your pajamas. And this is usually our annual tradition with our children and youth, that everyone gathers in their pajamas, we drink hot chocolate together, and we read the Polar Express. So we're doing it again this year, but all ages are welcome. So come in your pajamas, we'll drink hot chocolate, and you'll get to see me read the Polar Express to you all. And then I wanted to make just a personal announcement. Let's see, starting tomorrow, I'm going to take a 2-week leave for health reasons. About 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with the BRCA gene mutation, which increases my risk of breast and ovarian cancer. And we've decided that I've done surveillance for the past 10 years, and with consultations with my doctors, we've determined that it's time to do surgery. So I'm going to have surgery on Tuesday, and then I'll take a couple weeks of health leave just to heal and return to normal. My family is here with me, and so I'm well taken care of. And I appreciate all of your support.
And so it is with our love and our blessings that we send Kristen off into this week. We surround her with our healing love and our prayers, and we hold her in that space throughout this week and throughout her recovery. I'm going to invite us to join in our hearts for our closing song, I Will Stand. Those online can sing, joining in raucously, and those in person a little more gently and mostly in our hearts.
In the warmth of your presence, I am safe at home. I will stand. I will stand. In the deepest conflict, I am not alone. I will stand. I will stand. I will stand. I will stand with this heart in my hand. I will stand. tear down the walls and sing a freedom song. I will stand, I will stand, I will stand, I will stand with this spark in my hand. I will stand in the circle with the circle in me. I will stand, I will stand. I will gather the courage I have found in me. I will stand, I will stand. I will honor the vision of who I will be. I will stand, I will stand. I will stand, I will stand with this spark in my hand. I will stand in the circle with the circle in me. I will stand, I will stand, I will stand, I will stand.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm going to invite you, if you would please, to stand in body or spirit to receive the blessing. And so we offer our gesture as we always did on Zoom for all that time, and those on Zoom are invited to do so as well, our gesture of our connectedness. Beloved, indeed, we will stand, and we will stand together with a spark in our hand. We stand in the circle with the circle in us, the ways that we are all connected. You are a spark of love in our universe. Go forward and spread that love lavishly. Blessed be, amen, and namaste.